Let's do it.
Let's get it on.
Round 1. Fight!
The 17th of July 2026, the Friday evening before the FIFA World Cup Grand Finals on Sunday. I have no idea who's going to win that, and I have no idea who's going to win this. The winner of this best of 5 gets 200 bucks, the loser gets 50, and it's all brought to you guys by Basilisk. Make sure to show my team some love if you guys can. It goes a long way. So I'm sure that you guys love all the BBBs that we have done, and I'm sure that the gamers love it, because guaranteed money is always nice. Bottom left side of lockdown, we are looking at the main base where Italian Stallion already played some Starcraft earlier today. SC2 Evo is not quite his cup of tea. Regular Starcraft though, most certainly still is. This is Reynor. Top right side of lockdown, we are looking at the main base of the man who finished 4th place in the recent Home Story Cup 29, and he's been very active in everything. The 2v2s, the 1v1s, the streaming business. It is a Shopify Rebellion's Lambo. And Lambo has decided to go pool first. Maybe worried that Reynor will continue his 10-pool shenanigans from Home Story Cup, as Reynor obviously did that quite a few times, including versus his teammate. But Reynor is switching it up. The ZVZ is going to be a lot about mind games, as we've already covered the rock, paper, scissors scenario a little bit. The 10-pool is pretty freaking good against Hatch first, but the late pool first is really good against the 10-pool, but Hatch first is pretty good against the late defensive pool. So Reynor gets the upper hand when it comes to the rock, paper, scissors scenario here in game 1. I can only imagine that Lambo's got many ways of maneuvering himself out of this minor economic deficit that he will face. I'm excited for it. I really hope that we get a good series. The ZVZ earlier was so freaking good. Cannot get over it. That's one of the best ZVZs that I've seen in a while. I hope that this series lives up to the hype that it at least has for me. Referring to that BlizzCon poster. Yeah, I've seen the BlizzCon poster. I wonder when we get a few more BlizzCon announcements. It's been a little quiet in that regard. Maybe they're also still figuring it out, but hopefully there will be more info available to all of us soon. Because right now, we know that MC and Hydro will play against each other. We also know that Todd is going to play a best of 5 against Ted. And know that my boy Todd is fired up. That's obviously in Warcraft 3. Todd was also a really good Starcraft 2 player though. I think some people kind of forgot because it's so long ago, but in the early days of Starcraft, Todd actually had some pretty good success as a Starcraft 2 player. I think his biggest success was winning the European equivalent of the World Cyber Games. He crowned himself European champion, even though a lot of people didn't really quite see it as an official European championship, but it was still a big offline win. Lambo has dropped the Baning Nest and is just droning. Reynor has already gone up to triple hatchery. He has gone for the triangle setup. Does not have a Baning Nest himself yet. Lambo's making a lot of units. 14 links, and I have the feeling that we may see a few more. Does not have a macro hatch, but the early Baning Nest. Let's go ahead and guys follow Reynor's point of view for a little bit. Reynor is checking with an Overlord. Does not see a whole lot. Is making a couple of defensive links. Makes a lot of links now. He's got a 6 worker lead. Could potentially be a tiny bit dangerous. It's going to be a big fight over the 3rd base of Reynor. Reynor obviously getting his hands on that one quite a bit quicker than Lambo. And Reynor has to defend this with just links for now. He's invested in Carapace, but Carapace is not going to finish up anytime soon. Reynor is trying to buy a little bit of time with just a couple Zerg links, and that actually allows him to take a favorable fight, but he needs to be paying attention, and he is paying attention. Still a decent connection on Lambo's side. Lambo's second Baning will only get 3 links. Lambo still has way more Zerg links out than Reynor. Reynor decides to go into Roaches now, guys. I feel like that's a tiny bit questionable, because that's going to take a little while. And I feel that by the time that these Roaches are out, he will most likely have to forfeit this 3rd hatch. I don't know if I like that call, but Reynor has made it, and that is what it is. He's not thinking of his own tiny counterattack. Will the banelings of Lambo go all the way? Seeing that roaches are out from Lambo, I would just probably go for this roach and now focus on maybe the defense. But gets a little surround on the queens and the roaches, but he does not want to sacrifice his banes. Gets the first queen, does not get the second queen though. So Reynor keeps one of the two queens alive. He's going to lose the lings on the other side of the map. Shouldn't get too much out of it. Lambo's got his own roach warren, so he can start producing roaches. I'd say overall this went pretty well for Lambo. I don't think he's going to be too unhappy with it. What Reynor does have, of course, guys, is the early evolution chamber with Carapace. And that could lead into maybe a strong timing attack where he's got an upgrade advantage. Very competitive first game between these two European Zerg legends. Seems like our prediction has run out. I don't know what you guys voted for or how many channel points are on the line, but it should honestly be quite close. Lambo, in the shape that he's in, I think is more than capable of hanging with Reynor. Hello, Toomey. Toomey is here. 66-34 in favor of the Rhino. I think that's very reasonable. I was still surprised that 39% of you guys voted for Elaser earlier, and he actually delivered. It's very, I honestly think that was a sick call by Twitch chat. So I would have thought that would have been more favored towards Shin. Lambo's got a lot of links, 9 roaches, 3 ravages. Reynor's got 14 roaches and is just focusing on the defense. Does obviously have the upgrade lead. Lambo has gone for a quicker lair. Don't think Lambo's really going to commit here. I'd be very surprised if he commits. This is kind of testing, I think. In case Reynor was mega greedy, Lambo could punish him with all these units, but seeing the amount of defensive units that Reynor has, Lambo is, needs to be careful that he doesn't kill his own Overlord, and he doesn't. Just gets Reynor's. This one is very low, so you should be able to get that one too. Reynor is thinking of a tiny counter, guys, with just a couple of links. But Lambo does not have any battle units here other than a queen that's already a bit low on HP, so that's going to die rather quickly. Lambo does come in with a lot of links, looking for the surround, does not quite get it. Reynor does not have a lair. His lair is halfway done. It's going to take a little while. Reynor is now droning up. He's moving out with his roaches, but could be a bit of a fake. Kind of splits it up. Loses another Overlord. It's a lot of Overlords, guys. As Reynor has lost 400 minerals in Overlords have gone down in an 8-minute game here on lockdown. The roaches that Reynor split up though do get a bunch of shots off here on the retreating links and a couple of the banelings. Lambo has a pretty big upgrade deficit to make up for. Like, his carapace is halfway done, his missile attacks has just started. Where Lambo maybe economically has been slightly ahead for the last at least few minutes, basically the last 3. Reynor has a pretty healthy upgrade lead. Reynor's gonna scout with his overseer. Sees everything is normal. Obviously in CVZ we're always worried about spires. Spires are annoying when you're just working with roaches, ravages and zerglings. And these days quite often low queen count as well. Lambo scouting for the same thing, but there is no spire. Also sees that this gas has not been taken, so I do like the massive upgrade lead that Reynor can potentially work with. Even though Lambo has already made up for it a little bit. Double Evo chamber against single Evo chamber now. It's honestly just mega close. 9 minutes and 30 seconds in. A lot has happened, but there is not a lot separating these two video gamers on the Friday night here. Live on Twitch. It's still possible to be live on Twitch. It's becoming rare, but it's still a thing. Reynor dodging a lot of the corrosive balls. Lambo may be waiting for his own +1 missile attacks, and then there might be a tiny window where they both work with 1-1. It's not going to be a large window as Reynor his +2 missile attacks is 75 to 80% done. But Lambo is going to try to make some magic happen. Armies are quite similar. Lambo has a few more links. Reynor's got a few more roaches. Ravages exposed there though. That's a little mistake on the side of Lambo. Reynor jumps on it immediately, but now Reynor, his 2 Ravages were also exposed, but Defender's Advantage and a Spine Crawler should be more than good enough for Reynor. Even though Lambo's taking a good fight at the top, the links didn't get a lot done. During all of this, Lambo has planted down the building that we were alluding to earlier. Spire is already halfway done. Obviously the economy is quite good. Gas count currently 6. Lambo working with 6 gases. Reynor still has that Overseer flying around, but he hasn't quite seen the Spire yet. That's a very solid scrap. 11 minutes into game 1 of our main event. There's so little separating these two. This could be a very good fight for Lambo, as I think Lambo's flank is going to arrive a tiny bit before Reynor's flank. Reynor's got way more coming from the top, but Lambo had way more coming from the bottom. So Lambo wins the beginning of this fight. Winning this as decisively as Lambo is while having that Spire on the way. It's going to be a massive confidence booster for Lambo. He's got double Evo Chamber, of course, doing its thing. That was a massive victory for Lambo, guys. Like, Lambo's army was just a bit more synced up. The reinforcements of Lambo arrived quicker than the reinforcements of Reynor, or the flank, if you don't want to call it reinforcements. And now with the Spire done, the first mutas on the way. Reynor's anti-air currently 3 queens. 3 queens, no Spore, no RotterdaM, no Infestation Pit. And that means that Reynor is in a lot of trouble. After that fight, Reynor is in a lot of trouble. Our German Zerg from the Shopify Rebellion looking very good against the Basilisk man here. And this is where Reynor, his heart is going to sink a little bit. He's making a move out. It's like, okay, I've got an upgrade advantage, and then you see the mutas. You can't not continue an attack here. If these roaches get a cancel on the hatch, that's really the best thing that Reynor can ever hope for, but that's not going to happen. Does grab a Ravager on his way out. And at least it's going to build a bunch of spores immediately. The muta count is not overwhelming. So it's not like Reynor is now in danger of dying. Spores build quickly and we've got some queens to buy time. But Lambo should be able to create a pretty nice lead for himself. Lambo sneaks 6 roaches on top of the 4th base of Reynor while also applying pressure. Reynor does drop a bunch of corrosive balls. We still have that spine. If Reynor retreats a tiny bit further, it's not a bad fight here for Reynor with his +2 missile attack, even though Lambo's got +2 carapace. But the queens, the hydras, the ravages, I feel like Reynor is doing okay-ish here. When he does end up losing the 4th, obviously, that really sucks. But Reynor has gone for what I like to call the Yona, a couple of roaches with Thundering Claws on the other side of the map. They're going to try to keep Lambo busy and also find some damage. This is a great ZVZ. Again, the ZVZ is really delivering today. It's only game 1, but there's already a lot happening here. Lambo does still have, of course, the tech advantage, and Lambo does have a 4th base. Reynor's got some mobile anti-air, 8 hydras. Just don't think that's quite going to be enough. I think Reynor's best shot here is maybe trying to somehow max out. I think that's going to be difficult. He's lost so many overlords in this game. 700 minerals in overlords have gone down. A couple to the Ravagers, a couple to the mutas. Could have honestly killed this one too. Make it. There he goes for the other one. He does get it. Loses a muta in the process, but Reynor sneaks a few more roaches with Thundering Claws to the other side of the map. Obviously, ZVZ guys can be so brutal, and a lot of games end early where it's just like a bit of a build order advantage, or it's one person making one round of drones too many and it can end immediately. But if ZVZs play out like this, and especially if you're watching the best Zergs in the world go at it, it's so fun. I find it a really fascinating matchup with so much happening and a lot of skill required to play games like this. Lambo has a lot of roaches on top of the triangle of Reynor. Reynor is a bit out of position. Reynor is harassing though with some roaches with Thundering Claws on the other side of the map. But Lambo snipes the 3rd. After sniping the 4th earlier, he now gets the 3rd as well. There is a new 3rd base for Reynor, but that's obviously a big loss. Now, Lambo does need to be careful that he doesn't take a horrible fight. I do think he's going to end up losing that to the reinforcements. And Reynor is also keeping things together. And Lambo's got money. Reynor is doing quite okay in these fights, but Lambo's got the economic lead. Oh, Very, very juicy corrosive balls there from the ravages of Lambo in the dead center of Reynor's army. And Reynor at the moment does not have the economy to lose units like that. As he tries to burrow a few more roaches, that gets intercepted immediately. What a game by Lambo, man. You can really see that Lambo is in shape and locked in. Like, kind of feels like the man's got eyes everywhere. Had a fantastic game plan from the beginning to the end. One big fight in the center was maybe a tiny bit unfortunate for Reynor, where his flank arrived a second later than Lambo's flank. But yeah, a second in ZVZ with maxed out armies. And obviously really set the tone for the rest of it. But a good transition into the Spire. Sneaks a lot of his units into the natural of Reynor. Now Reynor does land a couple of good balls himself. He's not going to try to deal with this army. It's filled everywhere we look. Lambo's got so many freaking units. And the Italian Stallion is getting a little overrun here after a 16-minute, very action-packed ZVZ. It's Der Julian, the best football player we have in the Starcraft 2 scene, who takes the 1-0 lead. Strong stuff. Very, very strong by Lambo. I think plenty to work with for Reynor as well, but the one thing that's maybe a little bit scary is that, like, build order-wise, this does favor Reynor. So for Lambo to kind of be on the wrong end of the rock, paper, scissors and still finding a way to get himself the W, that's going to give him a lot of confidence for the rest of the series. We don't have to worry about any pings here. Obviously, the entire series will be played on Europe. Lambo's in Germany, Reynor is in France. It's a great way to start our main event. 4 more of those, and I have a very memorable Friday. I see some of you guys discussing the World Cup finals a little bit. Quite often when it comes to major sporting events like this, I do have a bit of a strong feeling, and I'm definitely wrong often as well, but I have a strong feeling. For this final, I really don't have a strong feeling. I can see Spain win it, absolutely, with their strong midfield and just controlling the ball, and they're so hard to score against. Like, yeah, that makes sense, but it also feels crazy to count out this Argentina and the crazy fighting spirit that they have, and Messi, the magician that he is. For me, it's a real 50-50. I know according to the bookies, Spain is a minor favorite, but I really think it's 50-50. Nothing would really surprise me. I expect a very physical finals, and I think this comes down to minor moments. I think it's going to be really close. I don't have a strong feeling. Where will the rest be from? They announced that today, actually, or yesterday. They're from either Slovenia or Slovakia.
Round 2, fight!
Top right side of BlackRock. We are looking at the main base of our German Zerg, who is going for the early pull here after taking the 1-0 lead. Representing the Shopify Rebellion, it is Lambo. Reynor would be very, very happy if he decides to go for the defensive pull here before the hatchery. Let's see if Reynor, his spidey senses are tingling or not. In the bottom left side of BlackRock, losing a long game 1. We are looking at the main base of the man who does go pull first here by the looks of it. Good news. Basilisk Reynor. 2 for 2 when it comes to choosing the opening sequence. This is very nice for Reynor. Now Lambo is not just going pull first and then a hatchery. Lambo is going for the early pull and he's going for the gas. Very similar to what Elaser did on, I think it was Sanctuary the 3rd versus Shin earlier today. Curious how this one will play out. Lambo has dropped the Baneling Nest as well. Reynor has not quite seen the links yet. But what Reynor will see as soon is that there's obviously no hatchery. And from there on out he's going to take things very seriously, but then it's still often a bit of a guessing game. What kind of a follow-up is it exactly? What do I have to worry about? We know that it's going to be the Banelings. When will Reynor know that? Well, in not too long, but let's see how Reynor decides to go about it. Drop a spine immediately in the middle line of his main base. He's currently enjoying a 6-worker lead. Lambo is droning up behind this. Where are the Banelings morphing? Tiny bit towards the north. Out of vision of Reynor's Overlord, but now there is a Baneling morphing next to the hatchery, so Reynor at this point certainly knows. It's going to be quite likely that Reynor will just sacrifice his base, thus cancel it. And now he's going to have to snipe some banelings. Target practice. Ooh, that was a lot of links, by the way. You really can't afford to lose too many links. 2 banelings sneak into the middle line and kill 7 drones. Reynor perhaps thinking that was a full wall off, but mind your gap. At Schiphol Airport, they always tell you to mind your step. And Reynor should have minded his gap. 7 drones, that's a lot. Lambo is going to be more than happy with that. Reynor clearly did not think that the Banes could sneak through there, or at least wouldn't sneak through that quickly. Fantastic stuff by Lambo. Reynor in trouble. 7 is just 7 is a lot, especially because Lambo still has a lot of his links left over. Still has a baneling in the mix as well. One thing that Reynor will have, guys, is quicker Zergling speed, and he does have 1 spine that he can rely on. Reynor has built a bit of a name for himself as the comeback king. Thinking back of his greatest moments of his career, IM Katowice, nothing but comebacks was behind in every single series. And even in Game S8, the man was in trouble once or twice, but always turned it around. Baneling connected with a couple of Zerglings by the sounds of it. Queen count is 2 on the side of Reynor. So this last like 30-40 seconds until your hatchery is done. It does feel like it takes forever. I think Reynor's going to be happy to see that Lambo just built another baneling there. That's obviously going to slow Lambo's economy down a tiny bit. And it's not that bad for Reynor. I'm not going to say it's good. I do think advantage Lambo for sure. But it's not that bad since Reynor has way quicker Zergling speed. Reynor has decided to go for a very quick lair. He can obviously run his spine to the low ground, can maybe work on a bit of a wall off. Say this one is still playable. Lambo is maybe misreading it a tiny bit, guys, because he's building more defensive banelings, and these obviously are not going to be speed banes for a very long time. And Lambo seems to think that it's quite likely Reynor has banked up 16 links, 20 links, 28 links, and is running them to the other side of the map. But that is not what's happening. So this is actually working out in Reynor's advantage. Reynor is going to be quite happy to see that. You know, he struck some fear in the heart of Lambo. Lair is done. And Reynor's got a drone ready that knows what it wants to be when it grows up, and that is a spire. Now Lambo's building roaches. Reynor is going to scout the roach warren here, and that's going to be a big scout. That's a fantastic scout. What Reynor needs now, guys, is spines. He's going to see a roach warren. He sees no tech. I would say spines, spines, spines. The more the merrier. Reynor has dropped 2 for now. I really wouldn't hate another one, and maybe another one. Like, I would go full DJ Khaled on this natural. That's great, Vlandor. I love that. This one is somehow mega bright, but I do like it, Melit. Basically, the first time I saw Black Rock, I was already getting Warcraft 3 vibes, and finally a little bit of happiness instead of always being in the dark. Reynor's got his own baneling nest as well, so he should really never die. And that spire is almost done. Lambo's still building units, despite the fact that he's got a 3rd hatchery. Lambo's still building units. Reynor's looking for a good baneling connection. That was like 2 for 4. That's got to be more than good enough on Reynor's side. Lambo can't be happy, especially with all the extra defensive banelings. Reynor's so confident that he even cancels this spine. Well, I mean, lair done, spire done. Here come the banelings of Reynor. I think Reynor is cooking, guys. Yeah, he's down in supply. It's still a lot of units, to be fair, but we need these middles. But with 4 spines that are still healthy, and we still have banelings, I want to say we should be okay, unless something goes terribly, terribly wrong for Reynor. Transfuse, I mean, maybe right now he's getting like a tiny bit scared. Perhaps I shouldn't have cancelled that spine, but it seems like Reynor knows when it's the right time to cancel the spine or not. Definitely did not need that 5th spine. He's gonna push the Lambo back. He's got Muras out. His spire is done. Massive tech advantage. Lambo is simply not getting the damage that he's looking for here. And that is, putting it mildly, this was a flawless hold by Reynor. Fantastic. I think Reynor did all of that about as good as he ever could. Was behind in this game. looked like Lambo was definitely behind in game 1. And Lambo did a great job of turning things around. This time it is Reynor who's done a great job. Did lose his Baneling Nest. And he's apparently not happy about that. So he's going to rebuild it. Lambo is now going to use his links. Perhaps in a similar way to how Elazer was using those links. Reynor actually clicked on the rock there for a split second. Like, links are very quick, and mutas have a hard time like being on top of links and actually firing shots. So you can really use those links to a very efficient manner, trying to keep the mutas busy and at home. But since Reynor still has spines and defensive links, and he's rebuilding his Baneling Nest, I don't think Reynor is too concerned about a couple of Zerg links. And he's gonna use his mutas to deal damage. He should go for the Spore here, right? That Spore is not done yet, and by the time it's done, it's gonna get like 3 shots off, and that is it. Reynor cooking, and he's even sneaking in everyone's favorite, the hidden base, the high level hidden base. And this is looking like for the second time of the night we're gonna have a tied up series here in the ZVZ. Neil Banelings are ready. Lambo's not a quitter. He will always explore every single possible way to make something of a game. But I think this one is not doable, and I think he knows it. I guess we're gonna have way more air again in the chat. No air? Not for the right reasons, unfortunately, but I hope you know that I always enjoy you being here. Reynor gets on top of the Spore, kills it. Lambo had nothing, no anti-air. Was trying to get double upgraded Zerglings, but was just a little too far behind after he couldn't break Reynor. A single Zergling, guys. That single Link Scout of Reynor was so goated. Where he got deep into the natural, he saw the Roach Warren, got deep into the main base, and he saw there was no lair. At that point, Reynor knew immediately, get a bunch of Banelings ready, so we can get Banes on Banes. It takes 2 Banelings to kill a Bane. Reynor used 2 Banelings to kill a squad of 4 Banelings. Lambo doesn't really want to fight those spines with only roaches, but he couldn't get his Banelings up top. Just really, really, really good defense by Reynor. It's the kind of stuff we love to see out of the Italian stallion. Love yourself a little Roddy on the Friday evening. Oh, I am a lot of things, mate, but I'm not little. But I'm glad you're here. This has been a really good Big Brain Bouts. I'm very happy with it. It's a good way to set the tone, hopefully, for an exciting weekend. Belgian Grand Prix as well. I'm not going. It's pretty close to my house, but I'm not going. Oh no, I moved my contact lens. I can see again. In Game 3, winner of this series gets 200 buckies, and that is, of course, provided by BASILISK. The loser will still get 50 for playing and entertaining us. Here we go.
Round 3. Fight.
Bottom left side of a washout. The man who is technically 0 for 2 when it comes to starting rock, paper, scissors build orders, but definitely got himself in a favorable spot in game 2 after killing 7 drones with his 2 Banelings. Unfortunately for him, was not able to capitalize on it. His build got scouted. His opponent had an answer for it, but he's playing a great series. It is a Shopify Rebellion's Lambo. And in the top right side, it's the Italian Stallion playing this best of 5 live from Paris, where he's currently spending some time in the Red Bull training facility, as he is, of course, still a Red Bull athlete. After all these years, representing BASILISK, though, it is Reynor. If Lambo sees so many spines, he should insta-build RotterdaM. Mankind, when Lambo saw all the spines, he was still on hatchery tech. And this is not the SC2 Evo mod. He would have to get a lair first before he can build the RotterdaM. So it would take a very long time before he can then drop a RotterdaM. But I'm sure that Lambo knows that having a bunch of Hydras against a Muta player is useful. But it's a little bit hard to build units that you don't have access to. It's the equivalent of Roddy, why no Storm? when you've got like no gateway units. 1 gateway, no warp gate. Why no Storm? It's like, well, got 1 gate. No Twilight Council, no Templar Archives, no warp gates. It's pretty tough to get Storm. Is there anything else happening, guys, this weekend in the world of StarCraft 2? Does RSL continue tomorrow morning? I guess it does, right? Is it Claymore's time to peak in the RSL? What are the groups for the RSL this weekend? Obviously, last weekend we had Yona doing his thing. There's a lot of SC2 according to TL. Is there a patches tournament? That's what I want to know. There has to be, right? I know Epic Land is happening. We had the page open a little bit earlier. Fiont Drogo Grand Finals. Clem versus Lambo, Scarlet and Cure. Ah, big weekend for Lambo. Do I speak to Tasteless sometimes? Online, very, very rarely. I'd say last time I spoke a lot with Tasteless is when I was in Korea earlier this year for Triton. After Triton was done at Jeju Island, I went to Seoul to spend 3 days, I believe it was, with Reynor, who was still living in Korea back then. Obviously, he's back in Europe at this point. And obviously, if we are in Seoul, then we meet up with Scarlet and Tasteless and sort of. So, we got to spend a great evening with Tasteless. Other than that, I don't talk with him too much. They've always done it 30 triple. There's obviously a price difference, or there's a big difference in prize money between third and fourth, and it's just an extra game. Having a clear top 4, I think, is nice. It has historically always been a thing. I don't think I'm gonna tell him that, Manilify. But you can definitely try to tell him that yourself. But I'm gonna have to pass on that feedback. I mean, obviously, FIFA is gonna be happy to have the entire world tune in one more time. Because even if so many people say they don't care about a third place match, a lot of people watch these things. And, you know, by the time that the referee blows the whistle, the players will still do their best, and we have something to watch. I don't think it's too bad. Alright, we've got Carapace finishing up for Lambo. We've got missile attacks on the way. He's going for a third base, the triangle. Reynor has already gone for 3 bases for a little while. Drone-wise, it is dead even. Reynor also has double Evo, guys, but he hasn't used it yet. He is morphing 2 Banelings somewhere, and I wonder where that is exactly. It's going to be in the center. Queens of Lambo are diving on the Overlord. Baneling! Oh my goodness. Well, I feel like we could have done the exact same with 1 instead of 2. But still pretty good connection on the side of Reynor. Well set up, right? Went for a very, very defensive morph there, but kind of let Lambo chase his links, giving Lambo the idea that that was a fight that he was winning. Reynor now has a pretty big ling advantage, guys. There are 50 Zerglings out on the map for Reynor. Lambo had some Banelings, but he has lost his Bane by the looks of it. This is going to be rough for Lambo. Even if he has Carapace, Carapace is fantastic, but he loses the Queens rather quickly. Reynor has now put his own Evo Chambers to use as well. There are 2 more Banelings coming in. There's no ping. I mean, Lambo cannot retreat with his links too far, because if he goes too far back, then his roaches get surrounded. Just like that. Great target fire, though. Lambo taking a note out of the playbook of Claymore. Sniping Banelings, but with roaches instead of Stim Marines. Honestly, even more impressive. Less range, slower attack. Well done, Lambo. Great scrap. It really looked like Lambo was in a crazy amount of trouble there for a split second, but it is safe to say that the German Zerg kept it together. He is now going to try to counter. Don't forget that Lambo, his links are stronger, at least for a little while. That's going to be tough, Thorn. I don't know. I think there is a chance, yeah. At least Nations League, you know, that's going to come up rather quickly. So then he can show what he's made of one more time. Great scout there by Lambo. Reynor has 82 Zerglings, guys. Over 34 drone economy. We've got 84 Zerglings out on the map. Now we've got 14 Banelings morphing to. Lambo doesn't have a Baneling nest. So that one Baneling I saw earlier was Reynor's Baneling. Sorry. Lambo does not have a Baneling nest. He does have upgrades. +1 missile attacks, +1 Carapace. It is great. Roach count is quite high. Lambo is going to try to reduce the surface area for these Zerglings. There's so many Banelings in the mix. It's going to be very hard for Lambo, his links, to participate in this fight. But these roaches are quite powerful. The Banes are a little bit indecisive. It seems like Reynor didn't really want to use the Banelings on the roaches. But that does mean that the Lynx do not win that fight. Not even with +1 melee and carapace. And Lambo actually kept almost all of his Zerglings alive because he refused to use them. Great defense. Now Lambo's Baneling nest is done too. He's going to start morphing a couple of Banelings. Reynor definitely in some trouble. It was one hell of a scent, but where Reynor had a fantastic scout with one Ling on Blackrock, it was Lambo who had a fantastic scout on all those Lings of Reynor this time around. It's kind of funny. 8 minutes and we still only have 33 workers apiece. Banelings will be forced to settle for roaches. Still a decent amount of damage, but this is not a winnable fight for Reynor. Simply not a winnable fight. Lambo's army is bigger. Lambo's army is better. We do have some big explosions. There are drones dying. Just a couple of Zerglings on the other side of the map. At this point, it almost feels that everywhere we look, Lambo is getting victories. Reynor does still have a lot of Lings. And this is a relatively large map. So it is theoretically possible for the Lings to buy time, backstab, sniper reinforcements. And maybe eventually like only fight half of the roaches. It's not going to be easy. One Baneling in the mix there for Lambo. That Bane is doing a really good job in sending away the Lynx. But Bane has also done a really good job here though, and at least keeping Lambo at home. What a fight. 9 minutes, no economy, but all out units. And a lot of upgrades. Reynor already losing 164 Lings in a 9-minute game on washout. Lambo's got 24 roaches, but since he doesn't have a lair, he doesn't have roach speed. It's so hard to sneak 24 roaches that are slow to the other side of the map. Reynor may be forcing the issue a little too hard here, trying to force an opening in the natural and then maybe getting a surround on that army at the third, but that didn't quite work out. Lambo is now doing the rogue, as he's also getting +1 melee of hatchery attack. All 3 upgrades, guys, before we have a lair. ZVZ is so back. Peak ZVZ gaming. Lambo with a 40 army supply lead though, that's serious. That is very, very, very serious. Reynor was saving up some buckies though, as he got his own roach one, and he's gonna fire up a couple of roaches himself as he continues to flex his multitasking muscles that we know is big and powerful, but I think Lambo's doing a really good job in keeping it together. And these games have been excellent. The ZVZ, guys! ZVZ is in a great spot. Maybe it's hell for the gamers, but it's very, very fun for us to watch. That roach is not doing a good enough job in keeping these Lings out. Don't forget, +1 melee, +1 carapace. So just putting a couple of drones to deal with this could become very painful. Now if you have... Oh, the hold position was excellent. Fantastic hold position there. Really limited the damage that Lambo took. As Lambo's now going to try to get a really good fight on the other side of the map. But this could get dangerous though. There are queens, there are roaches. And this is before Lambo's own +1 melee. The Lings of Reynor have killed the third base of Lambo. Wow, is Reynor actually turning this around? Reynor looked so freaking dead in this game. It really looked like he was in all sorts of trouble. But Reynor continues to do Reynor things as he's nibbling his way through all those drones. Banelings of Lambo do connect with the drones of Reynor, but I'm starting to believe that Reynor can maybe turn this into a hold. Even though the next roach train has arrived of Lambo, this is it. Lambo needs to find crazy critical damage here after losing 21 drones and his third base at home. He is kind of winning the fight, but is he winning the fight decisively enough? I don't know. A queen goes down, a couple of Lings go down. That is going to be the end of Reynor's counter, but I think with Reynor, his triple hatch, 36 drones. What a comeback. Holy hell, man. This is actually so sick that Reynor has somehow turned this around. Wow. Just wow. My goodness. I cannot believe it. He was in so much trouble. He was in so much trouble. But Reynor finds a way out of the deepest of holes and somehow turns it around. Bully. What just happened? A sneak peek behind the curtain of Reynor in his prime. That's kind of what happened there. That's insane, man. That is very, very, very insane. What a comeback. It's just, that's 10 out of 10 by Reynor. 10 out of 10. That is sick. Very, very sick. It kind of, in a weird way, started with that one roach that wasn't quite in the right spot, but it looked like Lambo was going to be okay at first and did a good job with the whole position. But then the queen went down and the lynx just continued to do his thing. That was sick. Very impressive game 3 by Reynor. That's you know, since January we haven't seen that Reynor very often. Of course, Reynor had a fantastic start of the year while making it to the finals of the Thunderfire All-Star Invitational in China, with wins over Clem, wins over Maru, and a nail-biting finals against a hero on fire back then. After that, Reynor has maybe cooled down a little bit in 2026, but that was really good. That was really, really good what we just saw.
Round 4. Fight!
Eternity's Edge, round 4 in the top left side, also playing a mega series up to this point. It really could have been his, but finds himself at the wrong side of a 1-2 score line. Can he give us our second 5-game series of the day? It is Shopify Rebellion's Lambo. Or as the gamers call him, Der Julian. At least that's how I call him. The best football player we have in the scene, guys. Bottom right side of Eternity's Edge, definitely not the best football player we have in the scene. When Reynor saw a ball coming his way and he was the goalie, instead of making himself big, he made himself small. I do not recommend that if you're trying to prevent the enemy team from scoring, but hey, he's very good in Starcraft, and that is what matters. Representing Basilisk, it is Reynor. That was a mega game by Reynor. Reynor also participated, obviously, in the Crank Gathering SC2 Evo. As I mentioned before, not quite his cup of tea, but I think he had a little bit of fun at least messing around with it and learning a thing or two about it. I would really love to see Reynor play some of the patches mod. I actually think that he'd be a big fan. I also understand that things get confusing with many different versions of Starcraft 2. But I'd love to see it once. I think we can make it happen. Thank you, Optimus matey, and thank you, Cyan, as well. I appreciate it, guys. You're welcome. Are there any videos of you guys playing football? I made a lot of videos when we play Padel at Home Story Cup. No, not that I post them anywhere. I just, like, I have them. And sometimes we posted a few highlights in the Discord. Football, I don't know. It's kind of hard to film football because you can't really be on the side because those are all pitches too. So you kind of have to film from only one side behind the goal. I don't have any footage. Maybe someone else does. That's a good idea. Home Story Cup 30 will be at a different location, so I don't know if we can play football then. But maybe Home Story Cup 31. I think Dennis was already talking about Home Story Cup 31. If we then just go back to the regular location, see if we can set up a camera and actually record some of the football. Just use the same cam as the refs. I felt, by the way, after the first game, they went for a very different setup, right? Because in the opening match of the World Cup, it really felt that the refs showed up like freaking Cyborg, and it was just like machinery everywhere. And after that, it felt like they made them a lot smaller and went for a different version, and it started to look a little more normal. Because whatever the ref was wearing in the opening match between Mexico and was it South Africa, it looked a little ridiculous. But normally we don't have a ref. Everyone that plays is a ref. Player, commentator, community member, fan, it doesn't matter. You're on the pitch, you're also a ref. Total equality at StarCraft 2 football parties. Reynor has gone for a very quick lair here in game 4. Very quick. Lambo's got a triple hatchery setup. A scout would go a super long way, but it's difficult. Lambo is making a lot of links though, guys. Well, a lot. He's making 12 links. That is something. Lambo gets in. He could get the scout that he is looking for. Reynor is firing up 16 links himself as well. Lambo does not have a baning nest, so it is going to be very hard to punish this. Sees triple queen. Sees that Reynor has still not gone up to 3 bases. Reynor is now dropping the Baneling Nest. Lambo is going for a Roach one. Reynor has gone for a Baneling Nest. And it's a very quick spire. 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Zergling Scout is big. Gets into the main base. Sees that the lair is done. Can obviously click on the extractors as well to see how much gas has been mined. And maybe that link can get deep into the natural. Lambo gets the perfect scout. And I would say it's at a pretty good time. Because right now he still has options. He has the option to make nothing but units and try to end it and send us to game 5. He also has the option to tech up himself and just start building drones, get spores, but seems like it's quite obvious which direction Lambo wants to take this. He's going to take this fight here. He does have that carapace on the way. It's halfway done. That's a really good scout, obviously, by Lambo. I think it's going to be relatively careful. Has to be very, very cautious against those two Banes. Reynor is one big Baneling connection away from picking up the 200 buckies that come by winning the Basilisk Big Brain Bouts main event. Lambo building a lot of units. Reynor has a spine, but one spine is not going to be enough against a lot of roaches. First, mutas are out. That does really put Lambo on the clock, guys. Lambo is going to be on a serious timer. Good news is for Lambo that he's going to have carapace. That means that these mutas will do even less damage. Does he have any defensive Banes anywhere? We're morphing 8 Banelings, but most of those Banelings from the other side of the map. Reynor is going to try to do Reynor things here and buy time for himself with link counterattacks. Lambo, I don't think, wants to play that game. Does not want to make the same mistake as he did on Blackrock, where he had a bad Baneling trade. This time that's not happening, and that means that the Banelings of Lambo can get deep into the natural, can start softening up these spine crawlers. Obviously, Reynor still has links on the other side of the map, has the ping advantage, but this is a lot of ground on the side of Lambo. Ooh, Lambo really needs units though. Lambo really desperately needs units at home. He has not quite killed the hatchery. He's going to do that with his final Baneling, and he's going to find crazy damage. Still, carapace is so useful here for Lambo, because it really means that these mutas need way more time to make their way through the roaches. And obviously drones do not do good against Zerglings at all. And I think that for the second time tonight in a ZVZ series on the Big Brain Bouts, we are going to game 5. Lambo, his scout was magical. Reynor does hold. But if there was ever a time to ask ourselves to cast the question of BlizzCon 2011, at what cost? The man's got 5 drones left, guys. That's not a lot. 5 is not a lot. It's a fantastic scout. I mean, both of these guys, their scouting have been on point throughout the series. And Lambo, his Ling, it was a game-winning scout. Reynor is gonna try. I mean, it does make a successful dive immediately on the queens. Gets the queens, gets a cancel on the spore, but Lambo can just continue to rally ground units to the other side of the map. And Reynor would literally be eliminated. It's that sad. Reynor can't really stay offensive with his mutas because he will be eliminated. Which means he has to go home, and by the time that he goes home, Lambo with a 26 worker lead. Needless to say, he's having the time of his life. This one is all over. Zoom slush, as my German textbook in high school would go. Warte. Anhalte. Reynor down to 0 drones, guys. Absolutely 0. And that is going to be the end of game 4. GG gets called. Shopify Rebellion's Lambo sends us to our second game 5 of the night. Also, guys, I think the choice to go for mirrors at the moment in the BBB is not a bad choice. And I know not everyone loves mirrors, but unfortunately, I think that's the best we can currently do. So I will keep doing it. Now, the TVT tonight didn't really deliver, but the CVCs are as good as any series I've seen this year. I think I'm onto something. Next Friday, triple mirror. Unless we have another hot mess or hot fix. But tonight has been really good. And obviously, of course, next Friday we'll get some protos going as well. Maybe a non-mirror, but all mirrors. Yeah. How about next Friday? Triple ZVZ, but it's not possible. It's Triggers time next Friday. Alright. Triple PvP. So we can pretend it's a Monday evening. No, we're not gonna do that. I don't think that would be very appreciated. But I think the ZVZs, TVTs, and PvPs should be appreciated. Let's do it. Game 5 on the 17th of July 2026, Friday evening. The last bit of Starcraft that we will have today. Let's do it.
Final round. Fight!
That's me, but I'm a bit of a faker right now, Fonskicha. I'm nowhere near 0-10, unfortunately. I live in a tiny village in the middle of nowhere. I think a lot of people in RotterdaM don't even know the village that I live. That's how far away it is from RotterdaM. In the bottom left side, guys, of Sanctuary the Third, we are looking at the main base of our German Zergs. Played a fantastic series and obviously has had a strong 2026. Top 4 at Homestory Cup was good. Representing Shopify Rebellion, it is a Lambo. Top right side of Sanctuary the Third, I absolutely love that game 3. What an impressive display of skill that was. But he's still gonna have to win one more game if he wants to walk away with the 200 buckies on the Friday evening. Live from Paris, our Italian stallion, Basilisk Reynor. Did you grow up where you live now? No. I grew up in a town called Hoogvliet. Hoogvliet is technically part of RotterdaM, but you know, not quite. But that's where this is where I was born, and I lived for the first 21 years of my life. Is that correct? From 1987, well, the first 23 years of my life even. Always lived in Hoogvliet. Then I lived in Cologne, Deutschland for 2 years when I was working for ESL as a commentator. From Cologne we went to Los Angeles where we lived for 6 years. From Rancho Cucamonga to West LA. Then we went back home. We lived for, I don't know, 2-3 years in a town called Spijkenisse, which is near Hoogvliet. And then I moved to beautiful Zuidland, where I currently live. Zuidland is so tiny that if you guys ever visit Zuidland, you'll see me immediately. Literally stop by at any given day. The moment you enter the town, you'll be like, that's Roddy! Yep, that's me. Hello, Mark. Game 5, guys, and no crazy weird shenanigans, which I'm pretty happy about because this series deserves an exciting ending. It's been really good. I don't know if it's been better than Elaser Shin because I think that was maybe as good as the ZVZ series is going to get, but this one has been really freaking good too. And the only person you could run into is like Vicky or my mom or my dad or my brother, so yeah, I guess. Honestly, percentage-wise, there is a good chance, Rexy. Because there's like a 1 in 5 chance that you run into a family member. Don't have many people here. Oh yeah, I am definitely a legend among the Pokemon collectors. Alright, enough about me and Zuidland and where I have lived. Or currently live. Reynor has a Zergling speed on the way. A Lambo has a mine gas, but has not started a Zergling speed yet. He's got a lot of gas. Gonna drop an Evo chamber and has fired up a very quick flare. Lambo not afraid to send it build order wise here in game 5. Reynor does get a tiny sneak peek up this ramp. So a bit of a role reversal of the previous game, right? Where Lambo went up to 3 bases and Reynor had a very quick lair. This time it's the other way around. It is Lambo with the quick lair and Reynor going up to 3 bases. Does anyone know if Lambo drives a Lambo? Yeah, I can put that the rumor to bed. Lambo does drive a very nice car. Even though I believe that Louvre drives it a little bit more than Lambo. But it is a nice car, but it's not a Lambo. But if he wins a few more Big Brain Bouts main events, who knows? He might get there. But he hasn't won this one yet. Reynor fires up 18 links and he's got +1 melee on the way. You're gonna have to ask him yourself, Manilafly. Not everyone is as comfortable as sharing details as I am. But I think his car is nice. Maybe he will talk to you about it, maybe not. But I can say that it's not a Lambo. Lambo has snuck out a drone to go up to 3 bases. Reynor has the link count, I think, to do something about it. Is theoretically, guys, another fun setup here. With Reynor having double evolution chamber means he's gonna get +1 melee, +1 carapace. Reynor, his links are gonna be strong. Lambo sees all these links and says, okay, I know there is not a chance in hell that I can ever keep this hatchery alive. So he's forced to cancel it, and now he's just chilling on 2 hatcheries for a while. Drops the Spire immediately. I don't think he was necessarily always planning on this, but it drops the Spire immediately. I'm not trying to ignore you guys. I will spend some time, obviously, after the Big Brain Bouts is done. Take a tiny break so I can get myself a drink, and then we can always hang out and chat whatever for a little bit. Kind of just want to pay attention here in Game 5. As I think this has been a great series, and both Reynor and Lambo deserve it. +1 missile attacks is done. Reynor does have, I think, a pretty fast lair, all things considered. You know, double evo, lots of links, 3 base setup. Should be able to get anti-air out in time. Lambo does continue to upgrade though from the evo chambers. Fires up +2 missile attacks as well. So despite the fact that our German Zerg has built a Spire, I don't know how I feel about all of this for Lambo. Like, on one hand you can say like, he does have a bunch of roaches out, he's safe, he's got a decent 2-base economy, and he's got a Spire. Like, all of that is lovely, but you're also still being contained. You know your opponent's been on 3 hatcheries for quite some time. You know your opponent has basically like full map control. Lambo does have good roach movement here. I don't know, it's uncomfortable and nerve-wracking, perhaps the way that ZVZ should be at the highest level. Between the 2 gamers that finished 4th and 3rd respectively just 2 weeks ago over at the Home Story Cup, but they did not play each other at Home Story Cup. Lambo did play Cero, but he did not play Reynor. They both won their group, but somehow did not run into each other in the bracket. And the nice thing about building a Spire, and I guess that's why, guys, Lambo was going to build or continue upgrading, is that you really don't need too many mutas to pick off these super slow overlords that are scattered around the map. Lambo can use just even 2 mutas to get himself some map presence, take away some vision of Reynor, and still mostly prioritize the roach production. I think what Lambo is hoping for, by the looks of it, since now his economy is very small and he hasn't even built like early drones, saturated 3rd. I think what Lambo is hoping for, guys, is that Reynor builds a bunch of spores, drops a RotterdaM, and gets ready for all the mutas, while Lambo is going to try to win it. With well upgraded roaches, he's going to have +2 missile attacks. Reynor has a lot of links, but has 22 roaches left. What a finale today, guys. What a finale of a very close, fun, exciting series. This is Lambo's scent. This is Lambo's do or die. The absolute, well, Hail Mary is maybe a bit early, but needless to say, he wants to get something done here. Sees what Reynor is working with. Forced to turn around for a split second because of all the links, but he's still building roaches, guys. Lambo is still building roaches. He's going to lose the 3rd, so now we can maybe start calling it a Hail Mary. I hope for Lambo that he's not a supporter of the New York Jets. Sorry, Nate. Have to. But there's a new season coming up. New hopes and dreams, you know. Could very well be the year of the Jets, guys. They may be inspired by the performance that France has dropped a couple times now in Jersey. Amaze. Shout out to Rocky. I mean, Lambo has to rebuild the base, but he's down 22 workers, guys. Down 22 workers. The nice thing for Lambo about being down 21 workers is that at one point his army supply is going to grow so incredibly large that Reynor, even if he maxes out, is going to have a smaller army. And there is a chance, a very realistic chance, that Reynor will still be down an upgrade too. So where Reynor is going to have obviously a lot of reinforcements and has the better economy, it is Lambo already with the bigger army and the army that's more upgraded. Ravage count is 7 against 7. Lambo's got 11 roaches more. Reynor, his links are still being annoying in the back of this, but this fight is more important. I'm not hating Lambo's concave here, to be fair, but Reynor can obviously use the queens defensively. There is a little bit of creep missing by the looks of it. Defender's advantage does go hard in ZVZ, but upgrade leads also go very hard in ZVZ. What a mega close series tonight between Reynor and Lambo. And I still don't know. Is it Lambo? Is it Reynor? It's looking somewhat promising for Lambo. But Reynor's got the better economy. Reynor is closing in on his own +2 missile attacks as well. He's got a couple of backup spines. As close as a ZVZ best of 5 could be. That Evil Chamber could go down. Reynor could lose his Roach Warren here. It's a 2 HP Roach Warren. The Mudos finish off the Roach Warren of Reynor. That means that Reynor can now only build Zerglings and Hydralisk. Does have a lot of units, but Lambo being down in workers allows him to have so many freaking units from the very beginning till the end. It's a cent and a half. We are 5 seconds away from +2 missile attacks. The ZVZs have never been closer than they have been tonight. Ooh, that's a couple of big corrosive balls that landed in the middle of the army of Lambo. And make no mistake, Lambo obviously kind of wants to win the game here, as he's still down 16 workers, but he's up 60 army supply. He has killed the Roach Warren. Reynor has still not rebuilt the Roach Warren. Maybe felt that he simply didn't have the time, which means Reynor is forced to pull the drones. And it's really starting to look like the German Zerg is going to win this absolutely nail-biting, mega competitive best of 5. Reynor dips below 100 supply, is forced to fight with the drones once more. A 45 drone Lambo. It allowed him to get over 140 army supply bounce when he still had that +2 missile attacks advantage. And Lambo wins the mega competitive, close, amazing best of 5 between these two European Zerg Titans. GG! Lambo gets the 200 buckies that come with winning the main event. Reynor will still get 50 for the show that he put up. And I think we've all been entertained. Those have been some really, really good ZVZs today. Shinny, Laser, Mega, Reynor, Lambo, Mega. That was the TVT. I mean, we don't have to talk about everything, right? Nah, well done by Percival, but what a series. Honestly, what a series. They both had moments where they looked great. Scouting was great. The micro was great. The multitasking was great. I loved it. I thought it was really good.